Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Tonight, we're going to be breaking down last night's six-game NBA slate. Jumping into this thing, man, knowing that it was a very tough slate for a lot of folks involved. Not a very great showing from a lot of guys in different spots, man. We saw one of the craziest slates. So many guys, so many studs underperformed on last night, and man, we really saw that when it came to our DraftKings and or FanDuel scores. We're gonna go ahead and jump into those. Then we're gonna do a recap of last night's games, followed by a player pricing preview with the point total, so that we can get a good idea who we're gonna be Xing off of our list and who we know we're gonna be locking in to our player pools and subsequent core four plays. Now, just to give you a quick overview on what we do now, we all know that each day I issue out a core for four guys that I'm really on, and I share this with you first and foremost so that you can see that you can trust what I say. The guys I'm talking about are actually the guys I'm playing. Next, if you are one of the newer guys in the sweatshop and you have a little difficulty getting your lineup started, I issue out that core four so that you can use at your own discretion. The ultimate goal for me, for you actually, is for you to be able to build your own core four lineups, to set your own player pool. In the sweatshop, we teach you how to fish. We don't go out and catch it for you. So let's go ahead and jump into a quick core four review. Just gonna throw it out there, man. Wasn't a very good showing tonight for my personal core four. We had some cats in the sweatshop that did their thing, man, and got to the money. Shout out to you guys. Very few it was on a night like tonight. We're gonna start with TJ McConnell. He was a guy that I really liked going up against the Golden State Warriors. Thought he was in a really plus matchup. 5.5K was his salary. He was about 11% owned in most GPPs. Went out, caught two quick fouls in the first quarter, picked up a third foul early into the second quarter as soon as he got back in the game, and didn't see that much playing time. Not a great showing from him. I think he finished at about 13 DraftKings points. That was a horrible showing from TJ McConnell. The next guy was from the same game, a guy that I was on. Really didn't think Okafor would be able to last very long against that Golden State press, run, fast, heavy offense, and that proved to be the case. And that's why Rashawn Holmes, at 4% owned, went out and brought back 31 DraftKings points. He was only 4.5K in salary, so that was a decent play there. We next went to IT2. Thought he was in a super plus matchup. You know I like to attack the Atlanta Hawks at the point guard position. He had not had very great games against this team all year long, but the fact that we're heading into the playoff stretch, this was one of the hottest teams in basketball at the time, due to a lot we saw from IT2 being a master of the fourth quarter, leading the league in fourth quarter scoring. I thought the game would stay close enough to where we would see a decent amount of him in the fourth quarter, but that proved to not be the case. And at 8.7K, about 25% owned, a lot of folks were on him. He went out and only got 37.75 DraftKings points. Not a great showing there from him. Next was the guy rounding out the core four, was Giannis Antetokounmpo. At times during this game, he looked like a deer caught in the headlights. It seemed like all day long he was preparing to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland without LeBron James. He found out LeBron was playing before lock and got ultimately shook and just did not play very well. Horrible game there we saw from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Tonight's core four at 5x would have really done some damage because it was such a low cash line, but this core four did not even reach that. It was horrible, and it proved to help me lose my 15% buy-in. Yes, that's right. I did break the rule, went a little bit above what I thought, well, what I know I normally should do. I was just so confident in some lineups that I had, especially in my single entries, that I went a little too heavy, went a little too ham, got crazy, and a little premature ejaculation was what I did, because this early in the week, Monday needs to be, setting the framework for the rest of the week. We are supposed to get the money to play for the rest of the week on Monday, and that just was not the case for me and a few of us others guys in the sweatshop. So not a great core four. Let's jump into the feature four plays of the night. These are the four most talked about, tweeted about guys in the DFS sweatshop on the Facebook VIP as well as on Twitter. We're going to start with the Who Dat, scoring all them points over there, player of the night. This is going to go to Jaja Pachulia. Recently, before he came back from injury, we were seeing a lot of JaVale McGee. So when this guy came back, I think a game ago, nobody was really on him, and nobody was really on him tonight. At 3.9K in salary, he went out and got 29.75 DraftKings points. He was less than 5% owned. 3% ownership was there for him in most single entry GPPs. He went out and had an excellent game, and that's why Jaja tonight, you are the who dat scoring all them points over there, player of the night. The next guy we're going to talk about is the how did I miss that play? This guy comes from the very same game. I had been on him. If you've been keeping track with the show and with the core fours I've been releasing and the guys that I've been playing, I was on Draymond Green. I thought we were in line for a big game from Draymond Green the last time out. That did not come to fruition. We know he had been slumping as of late, but we knew he was going to break out of the slump because a guy like Steve Kerr is such a good coach, such a good motivator, has such a grasp on the team. He's not going to let guys slump for very long. He's going to put them in position to win, and that's what happened tonight. We're talking about 8% owned, a lot of spots for Draymond Green. 7.7K was the salary. He went out and scored 48 DraftKings points, a really solid game for Draymond Green tonight. The next play we're going to talk about is the heat check play tonight. And this doesn't have to go to the guy that scores the most points. It doesn't have to go to the guy that has the highest salary. This just goes to the guy that, above all else, goes out and motherfucking balls. And tonight, the heat check player can be none other than DeMar DeRozan. At 8.9K, he was priced up. About 26% in ownership, so a lot of people were on him. He was one of the chalkiest plays on the slate. Just to show you that ownership doesn't matter a lot of times. A good play is a good play. And tonight, that guy was a good motherfucking play. Good enough to be the heat check player tonight. At 8.9K, 26% ownership, he goes out and scores 51.5 DraftKings points. An excellent game we saw from DeMar DeRozan. But we also know that we're not going to be seeing Kyle Lowry for the rest of the regular season. So he is going to be the guy to carry this team when it comes to the scoring load. We can look to him going forward. And tonight, you are the heat check player of the night. I salute you, DeMar DeRozan. Now, I got to talk about somebody, mama. That's an emotional response because this dude fucked me out a lot of money tonight, and it's easy for me to go out and show y'all this dead body and just let y'all know how much this dude fucked me over. But you know what? I'm gonna shift the focus tonight because we've got to understand uh, that guys just ain't gonna bring it every night. They're just not gonna bring it every night. And yeah, this guy was in a solid matchup. Uh, Two of the best players on the team are not playing. Jabari Parker's not playing. Chris Middleton is on a minutes restriction, so he was being rested today. He was injured, and we really thought we were going to see all of the usage flow and the game flow through Giannis Antetokounmpo. But tonight, he was a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. How the fuck did you go out at 10.7K, 10.8K, and you rob us and bring back a measly punk ass 30 DraftKings points? And man, you a motherfucking snowflake, man. I'm so pissed because this is a play that I should have saw coming. Karl Anthony Towns, the writing was on the wall that he was gonna have a nice game. He was in late night hammer position, but I just fell so in love with being able to roster a facilitator, a point guard, a guy small forward that can play point forward. I was so enthralled with that I just did not see Karl Anthony Towns for the lock solid play that he proved to be tonight. And for that reason tonight, you, Giannis Antetokounmpo, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass, and I ain't gonna roster your bitch ass again until you are well under $10,000. There's no way. I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it. I would talk about your mama, but I ain't gonna do you like that tonight. But you got one more time to fuck over my money. You ran off on the plug, you owe me money, and I ain't gonna roster your bitch ass again until you're well under 10K. Use a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. Now let's move on with the rest of the motherfucking show. At this point in the show, I like to go out and show you my very best DraftKings lineup because, one of the mottos for me here in the sweatshop is if you show the wins, man, you got to show the losses. And last week when the core 4 went 7X, Everybody was dancing in the street, loving me. Oh, Guru, you the man. Guru, you the man. I suck it all up. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're too kind. Blah blah. I'll accept the tip. I was all happy about the shit, right? But on a night like tonight, when everything bombs, and this is where you have to step up and man up and say, hey man, I made some bad calls, some bad decisions when it came to my roster builds, and if you followed me, you followed me down an endless pit. So let's go ahead and jump into my very best DraftKings lineup. Here, this lineup originally started off as a core four lineup, but things kind of got moved around because I noticed that I didn't have any late night hammers. I wanted to get some exposure to some of the later games, the Houston game as well as the Sacramento and Minnesota game. So we moved around from a couple spots. I had IT2 in basically every lineup. I was 100% Isaiah Thomas. I really trusted his spot. Did not play very well. 37 DraftKings points there. To get exposed to the Houston game, I did not want to roster James Harden, but I thought that Patrick Beverly would have been a more solid play, and he only got 21 DraftKings points. Lou Williams should have been here. Paul George, a solid play there. Serge Ibaka, snowflaked on me. 22.5 DraftKings points. Jaja, we had him in there. The who that scoring all them points over there play tonight. Rick Rubio, decent game for him. 37.25 DraftKings points. Ryan Anderson could not hit the side of a fucking boat tonight. The Houston Rockets all together, I think they were like 5 for 42 from 3. It was horrible. Dennis Schroeder was also a decent play there. This lineup finished with 240 DraftKings points. Horrible. Terrible. Charles Barkley, terrible showing. Not good at all. My next best lineup only hit 210 DraftKings points. We had a couple of guys from the core four here. As you can see, TJ McConnell was one of those guys in there. Isaiah Thomas, I did get some exposure to Karl Anthony Towns. Harrison Barnes was a solid play. I punted the center position with Skal Labissière. That did not prove to be very smart. 13.5 DraftKings points for him. Pat Bev again with his old snowflake ass fucking up all the lineups. It was just rough. And this next lineup I believe this was a core four lineup as well. I had, not this one. Yeah, my very worst lineup of the night. I'll have to show you the worst. Here we go. Now I had this lineup in quite a few spots. We're talking Isaiah Thomas, Giannis Antetokounmpo, TJ McConnell, and Rashawn Holmes. Full core four lineup. Paul Millsap was in there as well. I liked CJ Miles in a couple of spots. I had him. Skal was definitely in there, fucking up lineups as well. This was just a bad showing tonight for me. Lost my complete buy-in. It happens from time to time, but we've got to remember bankroll management is the key to making sure that we're around for the next slate, as well as sticking to the process, the core four roster building strategy that we have set aside. Some cats in the sweatshop used it and it worked very well for them tonight, but not so good for me. And I don't have to win as long as some of you do. That's why I do this, to help you guys win. It's not about the plays. It's not about the picks. It's about the strategy that we use to get our plays and our picks. How we go out and we look around the industry, see who everybody else is on, identify the chalk. How we go out and look at what the NBA provides for us as far as injury plays, put those items together with our core forward, mix and match them in our multiple lineups, and bam, that is a recipe for profitable daily fantasy sports play. Didn't see too much of that tonight, but that's why tomorrow is tomorrow. Last night took a L, but tonight we bounce back. So let's go ahead and get the logo back popping as we go through a quick recap of last night's games. We do this so that we know where we've been. If we want to know where we're going, we've got to know where we've been. We've got to see where we went wrong. Even a loss is a win because it is an opportunity for us to grow as DFS players, especially in the day-to-day grind that we do find in the NBA. So let's go ahead and the logo back popping. And we're going to jump into that recap of last night's NBA games. There were 6 games on the docket. We're going to start in New York, where my Knicks were taking on the Toronto Raptors. They were playing host to those guys there. And it just wasn't a great game for a lot of cats, man. We're going to start on the Toronto side with DeMar Carroll in 29 minutes, had 9 points, 5 boards, and 2 assists while shooting 37% from the field. Not a great game there. DeMar DeRozan, the heat check play tonight, 37 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal. He shot 52% from the field, 13 for 25. got to the free throw line 13 times, converted 10 of those into points, and went 1 of 3 from behind the arc. Pretty good game there. Nobody else on this team did shit. Jonas Valanciunas, 18 minutes, had 10 and 5 to go with 2 steals and 1 block. Serge Ibaka, we talked about him with his snowflake ass. He had 15 and 4 with a block in 35 minutes. He shot 35% from the field. Took too many three-point shots, way too many three-point shots. Was 2 of 6 from behind the arc. Not a great game we saw from him. On the New York Knicks side, man, a guy asked me earlier in the sweatshop, man, I'm thinking about rostering Courtney Lee. What do you think about him? And I was like, yo, I'm not on him, but you can play him if you want. And he did, and he won because of it. Courtney Lee, in 40 minutes, had 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals, and 2 blocks. And I think this is because they got rid of Brandon Jennings. We're going to see an increase in minutes for guys like him. Derrick Rose is also a pretty good play. We talked about him in the midday mix. 40 minutes for him. He had 16 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, and 2 steals while shooting 41% from the field. Not a great game from Carmelo Anthony. In 38 minutes, he had 24 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Not a great game there from him. Didn't see much else from anybody else from the New York Knicks. Willie Hernan-Gomez had 8 points and 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. And probably one of the best plays of this game was definitely Kyle O'Quinn. He did a little bit of everything. Only played 14 minutes, but he had 4 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Next game I'm going to be talking about is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers at home taking on the Golden State Warriors. Pretty good game we saw from Draymond Green, man. 14 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists, 5 steals. He shot 5 for 10 from the field for 50%. That was pretty good. Klay Thompson chipped in 21 points in 36 minutes. He also had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Didn't see a great game from Steph Curry, 19 and 4 to go with 6 assists and 2 steals. And Andre Iguodala only scored 2 points, but he had 10 boards, had 2 assists, 3 steals, and blocked a shot. Kevin Durant, in his 32 minutes, had 27 and 8 to go with 4 assists and 1 block while shooting 47% from the field. That was pretty decent there. On the Philadelphia side, I keep on missing on Dario Saric, and I can tell you, the one time I rostered this motherfucker, he is not going to do shit. In 35 minutes, he had 21 points, 7 boards, 7 assists, and 1 steal. A no-brainer play that I must not have a brain because I did not play him. Rashawn Holmes in 28 minutes had 15 and 4 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Jahlil Okafor only played 17 minutes. He had 4 points, 3 boards, and 1 assist. We saw a decent game from Gerald Henderson in his 25 minutes. He had 16 and 3 to go with 2 assists and 1 steal. And Robert Covington did not have a bad game. In 34 minutes, he had 15 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, and 4 steals. Pretty good defensive showing for Robert Covington. Sergio Rodriguez got most of the minutes because T.J. McConnell could not stop fouling Steph Curry. And he had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. T.J. McConnell, 19 minutes, had 4 and 2 to go with 3 assists and 2 steals. Not a great game there from him. The next game we're going to talk about is the Cleveland Cavaliers at home playing host to the Milwaukee Bucks. This guy was a core 4 member, man. He played 42 fucking minutes, led the game in minutes played, and only had 9 points, 7 boards, 8 assists, 1 block. He took 13 shots, only hit 4. That's 30%. Hit 1 of 4 free throws, did not hit a 3-point shot. This guy was just completely off kilter tonight. We only saw 8 minutes of Michael Beasley before he went down to injury, making way for Greg Monroe. He had 11 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Not a great game there, and I hope he feels better. That looks like it's going to be season-ending injury we saw from Michael Beasley. Tony Snell, 32 minutes, had 8 and 3 to go with 1 steal and 1 block. And Matthew Dellavedova's return to Cleveland, he played 32 minutes, had 4 points, 3 boards, and 6 assists. Greg Monroe, we talked about him. He had 13 and 3 to go with 4 assists. And we saw a really nice game from Malcolm Brogdon. He led the team in scoring. He played 31 minutes, had 20 points, 3 boards, 5 assists, and 1 steal. On the Cleveland Cavaliers side of the ball, LeBron James did double-double in 37 minutes. He had 24 points, 10 boards, 6 assists, while shooting 8 of 12 from the field for 66%. He also hit 7 of 9 free throws. Pretty good game there when it comes to how low the cash line was. Richard Jefferson got the start in place of Channing Frye, in place of Kevin Love and Channing Frye. And in 30 minutes, he had 11 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. We saw 25 from Kyrie Irving. Also had 9 assists and 4 rebounds to go with 2 steals. The price was up on him. It was a very high price on him. So I don't imagine that was making value. But we did see Derek Williams for 27 minutes. He had 14 and 7, and Kyle Korver played 29 minutes and had 13 and 3. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Boston Celtics at home against the Atlanta Hawks. Not a very great game we saw from IT2, man. It was just not a great game at all. But Thabo Cephalosha, in his return to action from injury, filled up the stat sheet. 20 minutes, he had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks while shooting 83% from the field, hit 5 of 6 shots. Paul Millsap double-doubled in 31 minutes. He had 17 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty good game there. Also, Dwight Howard, before he got ejected with his second phantom technical foul, in 27 minutes, he had 17 points, 12 boards, and 1 assist. Pretty good game from Dennis Schroeder. In 29 minutes, he had 21, 4, 5, and 1 steal. Kent Bazemore got into the action in 26 minutes. He had 15 and 4 with 1 steal and 1 block. Pretty good game there. Taurean Prince off of the bench. 8 points, 12 boards, 3 assists, and 2 steals to go with a block. Pretty good game there from him, although I am sure his ownership was less than 1%. Nobody was on this guy. Isaiah Thomas, 30 minutes for him. He had 19 and 7 to go with 7 assists and 1 block. And it just seemed at a point in the fourth quarter where they just were not giving him the ball. Like, he was just not getting the ball, and you could tell he was clearly and visibly upset, stormed off of the court, sat down on the bench, down by 15 points, and did not make a return. Horrible coaching decisions we saw in this game. Jay Crowder in 30 minutes had 6 and 4 to go with 1 assist and 1 block. Not a good game from him. Marcus Smart in 28 minutes chipped in 16 and 4 with 1 assist, 1 steal. And we saw Jaylen Brown for 28 minutes. He had 15 points and 5 rebounds with 1 assist and 1 steal. Now, we did see Avery Bradley return to action, but he only played 15 minutes. I think he may have re-aggravated that injury. He only had 6 points and 3 steals in those 15 minutes. Not a great game there from him. Next game I'm going to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks at home against the Miami Heat. This is the game that I should have had way more exposure to. Way more exposure. On the Miami side, Hassan Whiteside, big double-double, 19 and 19 to go with a steal and a block. Pretty awesome game there for him. He shot 56% from the field, going 9 for 16. We finally saw a solid game from Goran Dragic. I had been on him the last few games, the last few slates, as a matter of fact, and he just hadn't produced. So I kind of got off him, and it came back to bite me. 37 minutes leading the team. He had 24 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals while shooting 10 for 21 from the field. He took 21 shots in this game. And when you have a guy like Goran Dragic who leads the league in drives per game, 13.6, he leads the league in drive per game. When you have a guy like this taking 21 shots, you know he's getting to the basket and he's making noise down there and he's going to be scoring points. So that was a miss on me. Tyler Johnson in 24 minutes had 10 and 4 with 4 assists and 3 steals. We saw Dion Waiters for 32 minutes and he had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Not a horrible game for him, as tonight's cash line was very low. On the Dallas Mavericks side, saw a nice game from Harrison Barnes. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist in his 36 minutes. Dirk Nowitzki pulled down 12 boards, but he only scored 8 points, had an assist and a block. Not a great game there from him. Lil Brella led the team in scoring. In 36 minutes, he had 29 points, 1 board, 3 assists, and we rarely expect guys to get off like that against this Miami Heat perimeter, but man, Lil Brella was cooking tonight. We saw Yogi Ferrell for 29 minutes. He had 6 and 5 to go with 5 assists and 1 steal. Not a great game there. Didn't see much else off of the bench, and that is why we're going to move on to the next game. The Houston Rockets at home defending the turf against the Indiana Pacers. Paul George is somebody who I kind of liked. Didn't score much, but he did a little bit of everything, and really helped you out if you had him. In 29 minutes, he had 15 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block. Only took 16 shots, all right? But he only hit 5 of them. He took 16, but only hit 5 of them. 31% from the field, hit 2 of 2 free throws, and 3 of 9 from behind the arc. We saw Miles Turner for 27 minutes. He had 12 and 6 to go with 1 assist and 3 blocks. Not a great game there. Jeff Teague was actually the play of this game. Against a staunch Pat Beverly defense, he goes out in 36 minutes, leading the team, and has 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Great game there from him. LaVoy Allen chipped in 11 boards, 4 assists, and 4 points in his 21 minutes. We saw Monte Ellis drop 12, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists. Pretty good game there from him. Raheem Christmas even had 10 points and 3 rebounds. And Rodney Stuckey, last night's 3K play of the day, in 22 minutes, had 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty good game there. On the Houston side, not a great game we saw from James Harden. He led the team in minutes, played 39 minutes. He had 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 12 assists with 2 steals. He only hit 5 shots, went 5 of 17 from the field for 29%. As a team, they hit 10 of 45 three-point shots, and most of them came late in the second half to kind of keep the game close, and Lou Williams was firing on all cylinders. Talking about Lou Williams, Sweet Lou was stumbling and bumbling and fumbling and knocking down shots all over the place, led the team in scoring with 28 points, had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block, and I think it's safe to say that Lou Williams is this team's primary scorer off of the bench. He just is. Newsflash. Nene in 19 minutes had 15 and 70 with 1 assist and 1 block. Pretty good game from him. Didn't see much from Eric Gordon in 26 minutes. He had 9 and 1 to go with 2 assists. And Trevor Ariza, we talked about him already. Not a great game there from him. Patrick Beverly snowflaked the fuck out. This dude only had 2 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Only took 6 shots and hit 1 of them. Shot 16% from the field. Horrible showing from Patrick Beverly tonight. Moving on to the last game on the slate. This was the late night hammer game. A few pretty good performances we saw in this game, especially on the Minnesota Timberwolves side. We're going to talk about Karl Anthony Towns, man. 29 points, 17 boards, 2 assists, 3 blocks, hit 13 shots out of 19. That's 68% from the field, the way a big man should. Excellent game we saw from Karl Anthony Towns. Rick Rubio had a nice one, too. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. And Namia Bielita off of the bench, doubled. How the fuck did that happen? He played 35 minutes, had 10 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, while shooting 4 for 15 from the field. Didn't have a great shooting game out, but he just fucking balled, man. And that's ridiculous that guy came off the bench and just played that well. Some of it was scrub love. Some of it wasn't, though. That was awesome. An awesome game from him. Andrew Wiggins in 34 minutes had 27 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 4 steals while shooting 45% from the field. Pretty good showing there. On the Sacramento Kings side of the ball, man, not a lot of good showings here. Kosta Koufos, he doubled in 24 minutes, had 14 and 11 to go with 1 assist. Ty Lawson did start this game. He had 11 points, 1 rebound, 9 assists, and 2 steals. Tyreke Evans off of the bench in 24 minutes had 13 and 5 to go with 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. And we saw a decent game from Willie Cauley-Stein in 34 minutes. He had 14 and 6 to go with 5 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Bud Hield in 26 minutes had 8 and 5 to go with a steal. Not a good game there. And Skal Labissière in 13 minutes had 4 and 6 to go with 1 block. Not a great game for him as well. Now that we've recapped last night's NBA games, let's go ahead and jump into a quick player pricing for tomorrow's 6-game slate. Now, I want you to be aware that any 5 games or less, I'm fucking stacking. Like, I'm straight stacking the lineup. But anytime we can get into, a 6-game slate that looks pretty juicy for stacking purposes, that's not off limits at all. So let's go ahead and start right here. We're going to jump into this like a quick, let's say slate recognition, right? At 7 o'clock, we've got 6 games here. Now, we've also got a 4-game turbo starting at 7:30. Now, if you see that these 4 games are fairly juicy, if you see that you're targeting a lot of guys that are in these 4 games anyway, go ahead and make some lineups in that. Throw them bitches in the main. Same thing for the 8 o'clock 4-game late slate. If you see that you're targeting guys from either of these sub-slates, the turbo or the late, stack some shit in there and throw them bitches in the main. Because a lot of times, those lineups can score much higher than a 6-game slate would. That's just the nature of the beast. So let's go ahead and pop this open. We're going to look at some player pricing, kind of go through and see what we have on deck for tomorrow. First things first, I can already see there is a guy. What you're getting right now is my first take, a pure, unadulterated first look at tomorrow's slate, and we're gonna open this up. First thing we see is we've got Russell Westbrook at 12.1K going up against the Utah Jazz. Now, normally I would say, yo, this Utah Jazz, I'm not fucking with nobody against them. But Russell Westbrook is one of those guys, man, that's just matchup proof. And this game is in OKC. I think a lot of people are going to see that 8th ranked DVP, that red DVP, and they're not going to want to roster a guy like Russell Westbrook against the Utah Jazz. But who the fuck else is going to score? Now, some of that's going to depend on if we see Vic Oladipo back. But either way, I think the price is right on him right now. 12.1K, you can definitely roster Russell Westbrook tomorrow. Same thing with John Wall at 10.3. Even though the matchup is better for him, I still think you can roster John Wall with confidence tomorrow. I like Kevin Durant at 9.7. Anytime I can get Kevin Durant under 10K, that's going to be solid. We've got to look out for the defensive prowess of a guy like Otto Porter, who plays pretty good wing defense. But the first few guys are fucking matchup proof. Steph Curry, 9.5 is a little too rich for my blood. I'm not going to have any Steph Curry tomorrow. Jimmy Butler at 9.3 is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. Jokic at 8.9, just play fucking Jokic tomorrow. Just play him. This dude is now in a salary where we can roster him with confidence. I foresee this guy being one of the highest owned guys on the slate, and for good reason. Dame Lillard had a pretty decent game out last time. He was a core 4 member, but this time he's going to Detroit to take on the Pistons. It's at 8.4K is the price on him. I'm not in love with him there. Kemba Walker, I normally don't like to roster Kemba away from the Beehive, but against the LA Lakers, man, who's one of the worst teams in the league against the point guard position, I have no problem with Kemba Walker. I will have some at 8.3 tomorrow. Andre Drummond, definitely 8.2. Don't let that 9th ranked DVP fool you. He's going to be seeing Yusuf Nurkic. No match for him. I like Andre Drummond tomorrow. Mike Conley is one of my favorite plays on the slate at point guard at 7.9. I really like that. Anytime they're in the grindhouse, I like Mike Conley a lot whenever he's at home. And I think the last time they played the Phoenix Suns was the time he had that career game, if I'm not mistaken. Eric Bledsoe at 7.8 is not a play that I'm interested in at all. Gordon Hayward, yes, give me some of that at 7.7. Marc Gasol is in play for me at 7.6. Dwayne Wade, I kind of like him tomorrow against the Denver Nuggets at 7.5. I have no problem rostering him. Nick Batum is also in play at 7.5. Draymond Green is a yes for me at 7.4. Rudy Gobert is not a play that I'm particularly interested in tomorrow at 7.3. I do like Bradley Beal. CJ McCollum is a no for me. Frank Kaminsky is a play that I do like. The price is 6.9. That's a little bit up for him. But from the way Frank has been playing, as long as Cody Zeller is ruled out, I think we can look to him tomorrow. Klay Thompson is a no for me at 6.8. I do like Wilson Chandler at 6.6. You would think that a small forward, power forward against the Chicago Bulls is going to be a tough sell, but it's not at all. Devin Booker at 6.5. He would be the only guy in the Phoenix Suns backcourt that I would really give strong consideration to. D'Angelo Russell is a no for me at 6.5. George Hill is in play at 6.4. I do like Markieff Morris at 6.3. I think Danilo Gallinari can be a solid play at 6.2. Martin Gortat is a no. Otto Porter, yes. Gary Harris, yes. KCP, yes. I like KCP tomorrow at 5.9. This is one of the worst perimeters in the league. I don't care what the ninth ranked DVP tells you. I think Caldwell Pope is in a really solid spot tomorrow. Marcus Morris as well, 5.9. I do like him. Vic Oladipo, if he does play, I still don't like him at 5.8. Will Barton, finally the price is low enough on Will Barton to give him some roster consideration, and I will be doing that tomorrow. Nurkic, the price is still up a little bit, 5.8. I don't want any Nurkic tomorrow. Julius Randle, 5.7 is a no for me, even though this is the 18th ranked DVP against the power forward position, and we can attack the Charlotte Hornets rebounding the basketball. I think there's a cheaper way we can go to attack those guys in Charlotte, or for the Charlotte Hornets in LA. Zebo at 5.6, yes. TJ Warren is a no for me. Derek Favors is definitely in play at 5.4. I do not like Steven Adams. Jameer Nelson, if he gets to start at 5.4, is somebody that we can definitely give consideration to. Rajon Rondo is a no for me. MKG, yes, at 5.4. I like him. Mason Plumlee, I don't like Mason Plumlee tomorrow, and I think Reggie Jackson can be a really solid play at 5.3. Tobias Harris is a no. Jordan Clarkson at 5.2. You know, shooting guards destroy the Charlotte Hornets. That's just real. And, you know, him playing with the second team kind of makes me want to look to whoever's going to be that the starting shooting guard. Nick Young is somebody who I'm going to like tomorrow. Michael Carter-Williams at 5.1 is not a play that I'm interested in, even though he is questionable, may not play. Nick Mirotic at 5K is a no for me. Al-Farouq Amino is somebody who I do like at 5K. I think we can look back to John Lewis. He had a pretty bad game out last time, but I think he rights that ship tomorrow against the Portland Trailblazers at 5K. I'm okay with that. Enes Kanter, 4.9, going up against the Utah Jazz second team. I have no problem with that. Tony Allen is a yes for me at 4.8. I do like Maurice Harkless if we know we're not going to see, um, we know we're not going to see Evan Turner. Uh, and Alpha Camino is playing. But I still do like Marvin. I still do like Maurice Harkless if he does start. I like Marvin Williams tomorrow at 4.7. Cody Zeller is questionable. If he does play, I'm not going to have a piece of him. Evan Turner is definitely out. We know Marcus Chris at 4.6K is not a play that I'm interested in. Ish Smith, this could be the spot. We could have been a day late on Ish Smith because over the weekend, a lot of us were like, man, Reggie Jackson's going to stink it up. They're going to play Ish Smith a ton. And maybe we were a day early on that. 4.5K, not an incredible price tag for him. I think we can get behind him in some spots. Bobby Portis is a no for me. I do like Robin Lopez tomorrow at 4.4. Andre Iguodala is in play at 4.4. No Kenneth Faried for me. Andre Roberson is a no for me at 4.2. JaMychal Green is not in play. I don't like him. Brandon Ingram at 4.2K. A young guy, building momentum, building confidence, had a pretty decent game out. I think we can look to him. Rodney Hood at 4.1 is a player that I'm interested in if we don't see Vic Oladipo. If this guy, if Alex Abrines is covering Rodney Hood tomorrow, I think he's a lock for 5.66 value. Allen Williams at 4.1. A lot of guys are going to rush out to roster him tomorrow. I won't be one of them. Joe Ingles is a no. Taj Gibson is a no for me. Juancho Hernangomez is a no for me, definitely. Bojan Bogdanovic is a sneaky play at 4K. The Golden State Warriors are going to press the tempo, and they're probably going to be scoring a lot. They're going to need some three-point shooting to stay in this game. If you think that Bojan Bogdanovic is somebody who can score well against the Golden State Warriors, as he has in the past, playing for the Washington Wizards, I have no problem with rostering him. Tyson Chandler, I don't know what the deal is. What is the deal with Tyson Chandler being somewhat removed from the starting lineup and then giving so much run to Allen Williams and or Alex Len? I don't know what that's about. They're both 4K, depending on who's starting. I don't like either one of them. Shelvin Mack 3.9 is a no for me. Alex Abrines is a 3.9 is a no for me. Emmanuel Mudiay is a no. Jaja 3.9, yes. Jaja is still cheap. Yo, this dude continues to 5, 6, 7x, but nobody ever owns him. His ownership is always so low that nobody ever wants to roster him. I love Nick Young at 3.9K. This dude can shoot the fucking lights out. And as long as he's playing against the Charlotte Hornets and the Lakers at home, the Charlotte Hornets give it up to the shooting guard position. I like Nick Young tomorrow. I think he's going to be a solid play. Jamal Murray is in play for me at 3.8. I do like Vince Carter at 3.8. Larry Nance is probably my favorite play under 4K on the slate at 3.8. I think that's solid. If you want to pay up in certain spots for, let's say, Russell Westbrook, you want to pay up for John Wall, you can pay down to some of these Laker guys, and they're going to be in really solid spots. Ed Davis at 3.7 kind of interests me there. Sean Livingston is a no for me. Ivica Zubac, another guy. If you want to attack the Charlotte Hornets rebounding the basketball, you can do a very cheap Lakers stack. See solid quality minutes from these guys, and then pay up in other spots. That's going to be my approach tomorrow, definitely. Brandon Knight is a no for me at 3.5. Andrew Harrison is a no for me. Dougie McBuckets, no. Denzel Valentine, no. Alan Crabb, no. Chandler Parsons, hell no. Marco Bellinelli is in play at 3.5, as is Jeremy Lamb. And there's a ton of cheap plays under 4K, man. This is going to be a juicy slate because it's only 6 games. There's so many low good plays under 4K that everybody's not going to be able to use them all because there's going to be so many guys paying up in spots. We picked the right cheap guys under 4K to roster, and we could see a really good night in the sweatshop. I'm excited about this. Joe Johnson, believe it or not, he's in play at 3.3K. Darrell Arthur is also at 3.3. Felicio is a no for me. Tyreek Black is not a play that I'm particularly interested in. Jeremy Grant is a no. Jerry and Grant at 3.2 is not a play that I like very much. Cameron Payne is a no for me. Myers Leonard could be sneaky at 3.2. Let's go ahead and find that 3K play of the day. Dante Exum at 3K is a play that we can definitely look to. Maybe some Trey Lyles. Joffrey Lavergne playing against his old team at 3K. That could be a solid play because he came over from Denver, went to Oklahoma City, and then got traded to Chicago. So if he's going to see a little bit of run, you might be able to look at him. Might have that increased sense of urgency to play well against his former team. Stanley Johnson, no, not a lot to love in the way of Trey Burke at 3K can be a solid play. If this game blows out, you might see a lot of Trey Burke. That could be our 3K play of the day. Trey Burke for the Washington Wizards. Take a look at him. Check that out. Because if you think this game blows out, and we're going to get a good idea that once we jump into the point totals, if you think this game blows out, he could definitely be a play for you. And I want you to be on the lookout too, because the Golden State Warriors, they are I think in the second game tomorrow. They'll be the second game of an 8-game road trip. So we can look for guys to sit, look for guys to rest, things of that nature could happen. Kelly Oubre is squarely out of the rotation. David West is somebody who we can look at 3K. Ian Mahimi is still on that minutes limit, so he's not somebody who we really want to give consideration to. Troy Daniels at 3K can be a solid play. I think my favorite of all of these guys is most definitely, of all the 3K guys, yeah, Trey Burke's gonna be my favorite out of all of the 3K guys. I kind of like him. So let's go ahead and get the logo back popping, and then we can jump into a very quick rundown of tomorrow's point totals. And remember, tomorrow we should be live in the midday mix. I've got to work at about 3:45 tomorrow at the restaurant. I've got a couple of appointments lined up during the day, so there may not be a midday mix. It's a 6-game slate. I'm definitely going to do them when the slates are larger because there's so much to dig through. So there may not be a midday mix tomorrow, but we'll see. If I can get it done, you know I will. I love working for the sweatshop. You guys are my employer. I am employed by the DFS sweatshop, and I will do whatever I can to help you guys get to the cash line running. So let's go ahead and jump into that 6-game slate. We're going to start. The first game on the slate is going to be the Golden State Warriors going to Washington, to the nation's capital, to take on John Wall and his Washington Wizards. Is a 229.5 point total. This is where you get to lay it all on the line. The first game on the slate is the highest point total. So you got to decide right now what the fuck you going to do. Are you going to go in or what? Now, this is a stackable game. It's a stackable slate. You can have quite a few stacks. Now, some guys that I really like just off of the top for the Golden State side are going to be Draymond Green. I like Kevin Durant in the spot that he's in. The 9.7K is a very fair price for him. I'm not too fond of paying almost 10K for a guy like Steph Curry. I'm just not too fond of that. I'd rather go to the other side of the ball and grab John Wall, an uber athletic guy, matchup proof, gonna really destroy Steph Curry offensively. I would like him a little bit more. Now, this is a 6.5 point total, so this game does not have to blow up. It's only 6.5 points. The Wizards are at home. They're a home dog. They get that home bump that I'd like to give teams that are underdogs when they're on their home floor. So this is going to be a very entertaining game tomorrow. I kind of like this game a lot. On the Washington side, in addition to John Wall, do not fuck with Marcin Gortat tomorrow. They're going to run his ass off of the floor. We're going to see a lot of Markieff Morris playing 5. I like Markieff Morris tomorrow. He's one of my favorite plays on the Washington Wizards side. Him, John Wall, and maybe a little bit of Otto Porter will be my favorite plays from the slate. And we talked about Trey Burke. If we think the game gets out of hand, if you're one of those that think that Golden State Warriors could blow this game out, I think Trey Burke can be somebody that you definitely look at. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Portland Trailblazers going to Detroit to take on the Pistons. This is a 214.5 point total, but the Detroit Pistons giving up 5 points. They are a comfortable home favorite, and this makes me want to take a look at Reggie Jackson. We know the Portland Trailblazers suck against point guards. We know that. And Reggie Jackson has not been playing fairly well over the last few games, but the last game he played fairly decently. And I think that we can see that going forward against a lackluster point guard defense that we're going to see from the Portland Trailblazers, most specifically from Dame Lillard. This is a guy that exerts so much energy on the offensive side that it's very hard for him to play sound, solid defense. I kind of think that the Portland Trailblazers coach tell those guys, man, don't play too much on the ball. Don't get in foul trouble. Just play the passing lanes, and if a guy throws you a steal, you capitalize, make his mistake 2 points on the other end. I think that's the way that Terry Stotts coaches this team defensively, especially in the backcourt. On the Detroit side, I think Andre Drummond is firmly in play for that price point. I think we can look to Markieff Morris some. I like KCP in a few spots. This is a very modest point total, the third highest point total on the slate. So I wouldn't have any problem rolling out a Detroit stack, getting some exposure in some spots to Dame Lillard and maybe Al-Farouq Aminu or Maurice Harkless. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Chicago Bulls at home taking on the Denver Nuggets. It's a 221-point total with the Chicago Bulls giving up 3.5 points. We know Taj Gibson is no longer there to really clog up the middle and be that rebounding presence that made the Chicago Bulls the best rebounding team in the league. And for that reason, give me all the Jokic, baby. I love him to bounce back tomorrow. He is under 9K. You can give me that. I like Gary Harris in some spots tomorrow. I think we can definitely look to Will Barton at that depressed price point. He was just 7.8K. Now he's 5 point K, 5 point something, 5.8, 5.6. So that's a really good price. Very great discount for him. I think we can look to Wilson Chandler in some spots if he does get to start and plays a Kenneth Fareed like he did last time. On the Chicago Bulls side, you can never ignore Jimmy Butler. You can never ignore Jimmy Butler. However, I want you to temper your expectations. I don't foresee him having a monster game, but he could get very close to making value. I would more so roll along the lines of a guy like Dwayne Wade, or maybe even pay down to a guy like Robin Lopez, or try to find that major value that's going to come off of the bench in Denzel Valentine or Felicio or somebody like that. Uh, Next game I'm going to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies at the Grindhouse taking on the Phoenix Suns. They are the home favorite, giving up 10 points to the Phoenix Suns. 211 points is the point total. I love me some Mike Conley. They give it up to the point guard position. They really do. The Phoenix Suns do. And I have no problem with rostering a guy like I like that. I like Mike Conley tomorrow. I like Mike Conley a lot. I also think we can look to Tony Allen in some spots. He had a pretty decent game out last time too. This team is not very good against the perimeter in general, so I do like Tony Allen in some spots. Not too much else I want to fuck with on the Memphis side. Maybe some Zebo in some spots, but I really don't like Marc Gasol. Just offhand, I think they've got a couple of different bigs to throw at him, and I don't see them, see the offense flowing supremely through him in a matchup like this. I think this can be a game where we see true point guard play come from Mike Conley, and he leads the team maybe in scoring and assists. So I do like Mike Conley a lot in this game. On the Phoenix Suns side, there's no way I'm going to be rostering Eric Bledsoe. I don't like him at all. I think Devin Booker deserves much more consideration there. TJ Warren is not a player that I'm particularly interested in, and neither is Marcus Chris. Maybe off of the bench, you might want to look at Brandon Knight in some spots. If you think the game does blow out and they get behind better than 10 points, you might want to look at Alex Lynn or maybe some Allen Williams, but I just won't have too much exposure to any of those guys in this game. The next game on the slate is going to be Oklahoma City Thunder at home in a 204-point total against the Utah Jazz. The Oklahoma City Thunder are only giving up 1 point in this game. I don't see how they can do that because the Utah Jazz is a better overall team than they are. You can give me some give me some Gordon Hayward. Dude's been balling out lately. I don't mind that at all. He's probably going to be seeing some defense from Anthony Roberson. A lot of people are going to know that and not want to start him. Give me some of that. I think we can definitely look to Russell Westbrook in this matchup. 12.1K is not a horrible price on a guy that can go out and rip off 80 DraftKings points. I think he had a really great game against these guys last time at low ownership. People didn't really want to fuck with him because we think the Utah Jazz are so great when it comes to their just slowing down teams and having that low point total and low paces. But man, the pace is usually dictated by the best player on the floor. And tomorrow, there's no doubt in my mind that that's going to be Russell Westbrook. On the Utah Jazz side, I think Derek Favors is squarely in play. You might want to take a look at some George Hill because we know how much energy that Russell Westbrook is going to exert offensively to get his shot off and get another triple double going. So we can look to Paul. We can look to George Hill in some spots definitely. One of my sneaky plays from this game on the Utah side is going to be Rodney Hood. He saw a fair amount of minutes last time. I think he's kind of over that injury. And when a guy is on, he can definitely stroke it. and I don't like Rudy Gobert in this game. So if I was gonna, roster multiple cats from the Utah side, it would be Favors, Gordon, maybe some Hood. Favors, Gordon, Hood would be the three guys that I would fuck with on the Utah side. Back to the Oklahoma City side, there is not much else that I want to fuck with other than Russell Westbrook. There just really isn't. If we don't see Vic Oladipo, maybe you can give some consideration to Alex Abrines because he's so cheap, but there's just not too much there for me to like. There's not a lot of meat on that bone. The next game and the last game on the slate is going to be the LA Lakers at home in a 216-point total, taking on the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are giving up 3.5 points. That makes the LA Lakers a home dog. You know I like home dogs. In Staples, this could be a really solid showing. Now, the Charlotte Hornets just took on the LA Clippers in the same arena, so we know that Kemba got some holes in LA, and he is very familiar with the rim. And I do like Kemba DeMar. He's going to have a really solid game against D'Angelo Russell, who is a subpar defender. I don't like D'Angelo Russell. I think Nick Batum is in a solid spot, but I like Nick Young for the price point even more. I think we can look at some cheap Laker guys, maybe some Ivica Zubats, um, maybe some Larry Nance Jr. I think I kind of like him. I'm not too heavily on a guy like Julius Randle in this matchup, even though we know we can attack the Charlotte Hornets rebounds in the basketball. I want to do that in some cheaper spots when it comes to rostering the Lakers. We know that we may not see Cody Zeller probably won't play tomorrow. That's going to give us Frank Kaminsky, the NBA play. I kind of like Frank Kaminsky tomorrow. He can shoot the long ball, get down and bang, get some rebounds, maybe an assist here and there. Didn't have a great game out last time. He fouled out against the Clippers. I know he's going to want to come out and have a solid showing. I really wish this game was in Charlotte, but it's in LA. So there's still a lot to like. Still a lot to like. Well, now that we have went over the core four plays with you, we talked about the feature four, jumped into some player pricing, did a quick recap. Now we just went over the point totals. I think you have everything you need to make an informed decision on your player pool. Do a little bit of research internally, come up with your core four, look around the industry, see who everybody else is talking about, see how what that applies to your core four. Jump in the midday mix with me if we do go in tomorrow and not be moved off your plays. Just receive confirmation if you were on the right track. So thank you so much for enjoying the show. This is your host, the DFS Jerusalem. If you would like to support the show, and you got to understand that you're supporting the show right now in its purest form by giving me your likes, your comments, your tweets, your subscriptions. I love it. I love it. But if you want to support the show further, there's a box over here. It says support the show. Go ahead and click that box and do what it tells you to do. Also, you can copy some DFS Sweatshop swag. There's probably going to be a link in the bottom of this video to where you can buy those items from. Also, you can definitely support my personal PayPal at simmonsmaurice95 at yahoo.com. And the best way to support the Sweatshop is to become an official member. Go to the website at www.dfssweatshop.com. That is where we have our tips, tricks, and tutelage, the community, everything that is designed to make you a profitable daily fantasy sports player. This has been your DFS Jerusalem signing off. The number one thing that I always want you to do whenever you are in the DFS Sweatshop is keep it 300.